Day 17 of the Israel-Hamas war, and there's no let-up in the violence. Israeli forces have now beefed up their offensive against Hamas. They continue their airstrikes on the Gaza Strip, and as per the Israeli Defense Forces, an attack on 320 Hamas targets, this is infrastructure, military targets across the Gaza Strip, have been conducted. Reports of massive bombardment by Israeli authorities near 3 different hospitals in Gaza Strip have also now emerged. It's not immediately clear, however, whether these hospitals themselves have suffered any damage. We're still awaiting any evidence of that. But Gaza's health ministry has said that at least 266 Palestinians, and this includes 117 children, heartbreakingly, have been killed in the last 24 hours alone in Israeli airstrikes. Amid this escalating conflict, the Israeli Defense Forces precision iron sting mortar has also been roped in, is being used in war operations for the first time to target Hamas's rocket launchers in the Gaza Strip. What really is the iron sting about? It's a weapon that consists of a 120mm mortar, uses GPS as well as laser guidance to precisely hit targets.
The idea of the IDF absolutely is going to be to destroy Hamas's abilities completely. This is a sign of what happens. This is a sign of what Hamas wants to do to Israel. And we have a choice, either defeat Hamas or allow them to commit another massacre. And we are not going to let them commit another massacre. But we can hear behind us the artillery blasting. We are hitting very strategic targets right now. We've killed many of their commanders in Gaza Strip by plane, and this is all, and by helicopter, by artillery. This is all preparation. If we are going to do a ground assault, this will prepare the ground by taking out key installations, because when you do send in ground troops, you want to prepare it in advance. Take out towers that snipers can shoot from. Take out areas that are mines. Take out factories for these terrorists. This is the process leading up, and I cannot tell you an exact date. We don't want the enemies to hear, but we are ready for the next stage. Right now we're ready. We have something that they don't have. We have no choice. We absolutely have to do this for our country to survive.
And let's now get you an India Today exclusive ground report filed by Shivarur, who's reporting now from Jenin in West Bank. This is where Hamas planned strike 2. Take a look at this report.
I'm standing here on the threshold of Jenin. It's a city in the West Bank. The roadside behind you tells you which direction it is, and that is the West Bank. We're the first Indian crew right here at the doorstep of Jenin, which we're going to try and get into. But I want to tell you a little bit more about Jenin at this point of time. This is a place that has been struck by an airstrike just a couple of days ago for only the second time in over 2 decades. Now, the West Bank, much of which is under Israeli administration, has pockets under the Palestinian Authority. Jenin has been conspicuously notorious through the entire history of the Israel-Palestine conflict. Now, Jenin is not only a place that has been struck by an airstrike where the Al-Ansar Mosque, just about a couple of kilometers in that direction, that's Jenin you see right there, in that direction is where the airstrike took place, but it's also a place where more airstrikes will happen. I spoke a couple of days ago to one of the lead spokespersons of the Israeli Defense Forces, and this entire territory is still under Israel, and they say more airstrikes might happen. The difference between Gaza and Jenin is that Gaza is under Hamas, Jenin is under a political party called Fatah, which is a rival party of the Hamas. Now, the Fatah, which constitutes the Palestinian Authority, has not been able to exercise much control over what happens in this part of the West Bank, which is the northern part of the West Bank in Jenin, which has this refugee camp, which was finally struck in that airstrike. This particular airstrike takes place on the Al-Ansar Mosque because, incredibly, Israel believes that plans were afoot by an emboldened Hamas to conduct a similar terrorist attack from Jenin on Israeli territory using the same kinds of resources, paragliders, rockets, missiles, that kind of thing. And that's one of the reasons why they took the difficult decision to conduct an airstrike in Jenin. Jenin has many different names. Among Palestinians, it's called the martyrs' capital. Among Israelis. It's called the Hornet's Nest because it has been a bedrock and a haven for many of the extremist groups among the Palestinians, including the Al-Quds, which is the military wing of the Palestinian Islamic Jihad. The Jenin is also home to the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigade, which is the military faction of the Fatah political party. But 2023 has actually seen much more happening in Jenin. It's a place where the Israeli Defense Forces don't like to venture in because it's very much like Gaza. It's a heavily populated area. As you can see, even from this distance, Jenin is a pretty crowded area. Somewhere right above that hill is the refugee camp as well, and it's a difficult place to administer, and that's the reason why the Israel Defense Forces have very rarely gone inside Jenin. But earlier this year, we did see some fighting taking place where there were a lot of casualties. Last year, an Al Jazeera journalist was famously shot dead in what became a global controversy as well. So Jenin continues to be a hot spot. It's over 70 years old. It's one of the first refugee camps that came up, but it continues to be a hot spot as far as terror against Israel is concerned. In Jenin, in the West Bank, Shiv Arur for India Today.